people are so concerned about this oversupply, but I see it as an opportunity because I think with all this condo oversupply, and we're just talking about primary properties, like new builds.
New builds, right.
What about the RFO market? That's been taking a huge hit, right? So prices are slashing right now, and you can buy properties much cheaper than
much cheaper.
And you can negotiate with developers on terms that they were never willing to entertain before. This is my frustration, where I just look at it and I'm like, okay, how does this make sense? In most countries, I keep investing in real estate because everything points me to that way. Taxes point me to that way. If you're a real estate investor anywhere in the world and you're paying taxes on your real estate income, you're probably doing something wrong. You can't say the same in the Philippines. I'd rather be honest and just pay my fair share of taxes, but I want a system where I can win still. The government can win, I can win. The banks can win. Like, that seems to make the most sense. And if it's just a matter of execution and being able to execute it, then that's their problem they need to solve. Don't put that problem on me.
Welcome to the Treehouse Real Estate Podcast. By the way, I'm Kobe. I don't have Ma'am Chit and Boss Bong right now. But in today's episode, we're talking about what's next for the real estate in the Philippines. And we're answering your questions in social media, like where will be the next BGC, what's really happening in Bulacan, are condos just really overpriced right now? And of course, what's up with all these taxes that don't even make sense? And of course, we're not holding back today. And joining us, I'm very much excited, I'm sorry. Joining us is John Dang. He's a global mobility advisor and real estate investor who helps people earn through Airbnb, invest across borders, and secure second residencies or citizenships through real estate. And I'm sure you've seen him all over the social media now. Let's welcome John Dang.
Thank you.
John, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so again, my name is John Dang. I'm a global real estate investor. I've invested in properties all across 8 different locations in 4 countries. And I guess ultimately the value that I add is that I can give a little bit of a different perspective to give you context of what's happening here in the Philippines and how you can compare what's good, what's bad, what's relative to the overall market and around the world.
Right.
And so I guess that's really what value I try to bring to the audience,
Right.
To give them that just a little bit of a better perspective.
Correct. And what's pretty about it is the perspective is coming global, right? Because you've been investing in Japan, Portugal, right? Which was it? Like
the U.S. and
U.S. of course.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's American Chinese, born in Vietnam.
Yes.
Correct. Is that right? All right. Okay. So John, just to, of course, start everything. This is the first time that we had a visitor with an English. So forgive my English. So how's the tour in Malolos?
Oh, it was great, incredible, because I've been hearing so much about Bulacan and the hype around Bulacan. In fact, the few videos I've made about Bulacan have gone viral. So, and to be quite honest, I didn't know much about it. What I knew was centered around the international airport.
Right. So you've heard
around the development of the international airport, and that itself was a huge value proposition. I mean, obviously, we have one of the worst airport systems in the world in Metro Manila. In Nigeria.
Is it the worst?
It is actually ranked. I believe it's ranked the worst or the second worst international airport in the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so a lot of Filipinos don't have context of that because they haven't seen what other international airports are like. But you've seen.
Yes.
And you've seen
the Singapore one.
Right.
That's my favorite country. Yeah.
So, I mean, having one central airport that can support, mass mass international flights.
Right.
Like this is supposed to.
Correct.
It's pretty appealing. And so there's gonna be some very exciting development around Bulacan.
Yeah. And you've heard the new Manila International Airport that's about to be built
Right.
here in Bulacan, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it was really good to kind of get a picture and finally see it for myself on the ground. And so thank you for that. Yeah.
Right. So this is one of the nearby areas. Traveling from BGC to here, did you notice the Mega World's doing around Marilao, the NGC? They call it Northwind Global City.
Okay.
So
I didn't see. I didn't.
you didn't see any of that,
Well,
but
I didn't know which one it was.
okay. But it's somewhere in Marilao.
Okay.
And they've put a huge billboard on there about the name Northwind Global City. And this is the project of Mega World, just what they did in BGC. Right. And I know I have a lot of questions here regarding BGC since you are currently living in BGC. I mean, just for context, how did you learn about BGC or Bonifacio Global City?
I think when you're a foreigner, that's kind of like one of the first places you land.
Right.
You know, so when I landed, I was living mostly in Makati and Rockwell and BGC. You tend not to, when you're a foreigner, you come here and you stay in those islands. You don't really come out much because the traffic is so horrendous, right?
Yeah.
And so everything is so convenient there. It's really, it's hard to find good reasons to, really venture out unless you're going on like a weekend trip or on a vacation, unless you have business out there. You really stay within those areas.
Okay. But when you get here, coming from the America, and you try to stay here, what do you mostly do?
Here?
Yeah. When you're in
when I'm here, I'm really hanging out with friends and people and socializing and I work a lot, of course. My team's here. So you're always meeting for either business or for social. It's just a very social country.
Correct.
In fact, like I said earlier, I have properties in 8 different locations, but I call Manila my home.
Right.
Right.
That's what made me interested to interview you, and I'd really like to thank you about it for accommodating our team. So I just wanted to get into the point where you talk mostly of your videos. So say for example here, what's your take on this? So since our topic is with regard to BGC or Bonifacio Global City as your home, you're treating it as your home. So some people say Makati or Taguig was the first BGC. Do you agree with that?
I believe the original central business district was Binondo. Right? Before Makati and BGC. If I'm not mistaken.
But is it the BGC is in Taguig or Makati? I mean,
you mean the global city?
Yeah. Did you hear that there's a battle with it? The Makati and the Taguig area is battling with the Bonifacio Global City.
So between Taguig and Makati, so I think yes, we've heard about that for many years now, right? In fact, this was a 3-decade-long dispute between Taguig and Makati, which is kind of really, to me, is pretty crazy that this has been going on for so long. In fact, recently, did you hear the Makati subway was canceled because of dispute between Makati and Taguig? And because the Makati was supposed to be built over territory that was under dispute. And finally they ruled that it was Taguig's, Taguig had the rights to it. Right. So they canceled the Makati subway over this. And that, to me, I was
that's
just
crazy, right?
That's crazy.
I mean, it's the dispute over what the people need.
Right.
Because personally, when I was working in Makati, I considered working in BGC.
Okay.
But I do know that cost of living is double Makati in BGC.
Yeah.
And you have to ride a taxi. There isn't much of the commuter side, right?
There's no jeepney.
Yeah. So I dismissed the idea. I stayed in Makati.
Right.
Business district. So just And if I am to work coming from Makati to BGC, I will first consider the traffic. Do you experience that right now, or
From
when you travel within the BGC, is there a traffic that you consider?
there's always traffic everywhere in the Philippines. But BGC, if you're so I tend to walk more in BGC, right? But yeah, it's not as bad as Makati, I would say. But I think you can't avoid it.
Right,
Yeah.
of course. Only foreigners like you can afford those. I mean, from from my perspective, if I was still working in Makati, right?
Right.
So, anyways, a lot of people argue that New Clark City. Have you been in New Clark City, where they built the first international airport
We've
outside
driven
Manila?
by. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it from far away. I haven't really toured through. But yes, New Clark City, keep hearing is the next BGC.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think BGC? Do you think that's going to be the next?
I believe so, because they're the first one to have the development. The Pampanga is the first one because of their international airport. Only recently that they, the airport, the new Manila International Airport, they keep on, I think the president tried to veto it, so it will not, I'm not sure what's happening.
Right.
But they keep on going if it's going through or not. But that's how I just hear it.
Yeah.
Right. So, what do you think sets it apart from other contenders like Santa Rosa or Arcas South? Have you been in the South area?
You mean BGC?
Yeah.
Oh, well, BGC is one of the most well-organized, probably the best infrastructure township there is in all of the Philippines, right? That in Rockwell. And so when you live in a place like that, it's just, you're kind of living in a first world standard.
Correct.
Right? So the way things were planned, the urban planning behind it, the infrastructure, it's just, it's on another level in compared to anywhere else in the Philippines, right? Most places in the Philippines, like the traffic, the congestion is bad, so the roads aren't so great, they're not so organized, there are, wires hanging everywhere, right? And it's kind of a mess. But in BGC, everything's underground. Correct. And there's no flooding.
Yes.
Right?
Because I've heard they build like an under tunnel.
Right.
The flood can go in, right?
And this is something like Bulacan is well known for, is the flooding issues, right?
Ow.
But,
right.
Right? So no, I mean, it's a big question whether, Bulacan will develop the systems and infrastructure to fix these problems. It's not these problems are not solvable. It's just major infrastructure that needs to be in place.
Right.
Right. And so BGC has figured out all the it's kind of like the high-tech underground pump systems that so you don't have that issue there, right? And so whereas in Makati, the next city, it does flood.
Right. You're correct about this. Yeah.
So, I think it'll be interesting to see how Bulacan develops.
We'll see. Mega World is a developer in the BGC, so we'll see how they're gonna do it here in Northwind Global City that they're building again.
Right.
So right now, aside from the South and BGC, Bulacan is the next progressing area here in Luzon, right?
Yeah.
So
also to mention, what makes BGC what it is, it's a central business district. It's between Makati and BGC. All the banks are there, the government offices, the Philippine Stock Exchange. So it is the center and mecca for business. So if you are, even if you're from the province, you're going to be coming to these areas a lot to conduct business. Right. And so this is kind of where you meet who's who in the Philippines oftentimes. And so that's hard to replace, right?
Right.
Unless there's enough attraction, enough businesses to kind of bring that type of the people, and so that's what makes a central business district.
Right. But I have a question with that. How's BGC after pandemic? Before pandemic, there are a lot of people going in and out because of the BPOs. You've mentioned the companies. And I believe right now Chase is already they've already another building that they're occupying. So how was it On that perspective.
So obviously after the pandemic, the work from home office buildings have taken a major hit. And I don't know if it's ever going to recover back to pre-pandemic levels, right? So a lot of BPOs nowadays in the Philippines are built from work from home employees. There's no need for the office anymore. However, there are certain industries in the BPO that require you to be in a centralized building because of security reasons. One, for example, the banks, like you mentioned, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, they're occupying more buildings in BGC, for example. And then you have healthcare, for example. Healthcare requires very strict guidelines for how data is processed and shared. And so that needs to be in an office location.
You know another reason?
What's another reason?
I'll tell you one.
What?
Because of the PEZA, you hear it, Philippine Economic Zone, they've mentioned that they don't want people working from home because the building that will be abandoned and the area that will be abandoned, the businesses will die. So they call it like, if you're a member of PEZA, my previous company is a member, it's Concur.
Okay.
SAP, that was acquired by SAP.
Okay.
That's why we're going back and forth from Makati and Taguig, right?
Right.
Beforehand. So that's where I heard that when I started working from home in 2020, I do not want to go back. So when they were asking us to go back, no, I want to stay here.
Right.
That's why.
Did you ended up quitting because of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Once you have a taste of work from home, you never want to go back. Right? But what made you not want to go back? Was it the traffic?
It's the cost of living itself. The traffic is always there, but it's the cost of living. For you, maybe you don't get like the life of that. But if you're as a Filipino working as a middle worker or middle income worker, you will get the hit because like an 18 or 16 to 18 square meter boarding house or apartment will cost me, say for example, the previous one, I was paying that 8,000 for an 18 square meter rental. So 8,000 and I was only earning, say, 30,000 monthly, right? So 8,000 is a big chunk. Then I have to pay the internet, I have to pay the water, I have to pay the everything. So I don't have anything. So when I got the taste of living in my home, so the 8,000 is a free money for me. Right. That's why I don't wanna go
Not
back.
to mention your food costs in the city.
Correct.
Right? Like,
yes. So that's the
groceries and everything. No, I think it's heartbreaking, to be honest, how, we have the central business. Manila is so centralized. It's the densest city in the world. One of the, if it's not the number one, it's definitely the top three.
Correct. Yes.
And so, unfortunately, Central Business District is not really catered towards the local Filipinos with the average salary, right? So if you make anywhere near average salary, you're commuting anywhere between 2 to 4 hours a day.
Daily, yes.
Right? And and you have to live far enough where it's affordable and then make that commute. And you're taking up 4 hours of your day and you're missing time with your kids and things like that on top of your 8 to 10 hours, 6 days a week.
Yes, you're right about it.
It's just not very humane in my opinion.
Correct.
And so, unfortunately, and we talk about this a lot, there needs to be more development and urban sprawl outside
Manila.
Of central Manila.
Central Business
NCR,
District.
right?
Correct.
And so we're talking about, the South, Laguna, Batangas, Cavite, the North, Clark, Pampanga, Bulacan. And so these urban sprawl needs to happen and the government needs to figure out how to decentralize
everything.
NCR. Because if you look at places like LA where I grew up, right?
Okay.
LA County is huge. But then you have all the cities. So you have Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a massive city in itself. Then you have LA County, which includes Hollywood, includes Torrance, includes the South Bay, includes Redondo Beach, all the way down to, you even have Orange County, which is, and it's a massive urban sprawl. But you can live from downtown Los Angeles all the way to Orange County to San Diego County. You can live the same quality of life or better than you could from downtown. Because, and it's all possible because of the freeway system, right? And then it's all possible because of that, and people are spread out. You know, it decentralizes the city. And in Japan, in Tokyo, for example, Tokyo is one of the highest population cities in the world. I think there's over 13 million people in Tokyo. And it's massive, massive. But you can get on a train on one end of Tokyo to another end and be across in less than an hour.
Wow. Because of the train system.
Because of the train system.
Yeah.
And you can go to work between 30 minutes and an hour long anywhere in Japan.
Right. And aside from that, they have like a sidewalk where everyone can bike their work, right? Ride just their bike,
you can walk, you can ride your bike, you can everything.
Right.
And so this is where the Philippines has to go. There's no other choice. And not to mention, we are bordered by 2 bays. So your urban sprawl isn't going east and west, it's going north and south.
Right.
Right. And so that's why Bulacan is
now. But first it was spread out in Cavite.
Yeah.
Right. So, but right now it's the traffic. They're now, the traffic system now coming from Cavite to Manila is no longer different from you riding in EDSA. It's I don't know. When I try to live coming from here in Bulacan, going to my work in Makati, it's always like a 2 to 3 hours. Right. So I would rather pay that 8,000 monthly just to ensure that I just walk my way, going through the work, going where the building where I was in Makati. So I was just living out there in the urban, how do you call that, urban area, wherein there's a lot of building in here, but like 2 to 3 kilometers away, then you'll see like a subdivision, a residences wherein I'm just walking. Right. So it's pretty just the same. Yeah. Right. So thank you, John. There's so much, but of course, just like the CEO of the JP Morgan, I became one of their conferences before. That's my work. So what they say is, wow, Manila is great, the food is great, but the traffic, they really cannot take it. But again, BGC were born. Just like what you mentioned, they've developed a system wherein it's never flooding. You don't see any like practically like what you call that, the current, the Meralco. The cable, cable, Meralco cable, everywhere. Right.
It's walkable too.
Yes.
That's the other thing. It's like one of the few truly walkable cities in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to imagine that. That's cool.
Okay. So I'll just give you a bit of a briefing here because you've mentioned, of course, you have a viral video. The topic is in Bulacan. And of course, almost all. Before we dive into that, of course, next question, I'll just give you our current situation here in Bulacan. After the tour a while ago, you see one of our challenges here is the road, you can see. But of course, in the MacArthur Highway or in NLEX, it's good, right?
Yeah.
Right. But lately, they have the development projects that the airport and plans to turn the province into a mega city, which you mentioned you didn't see it, but there's NGC right now. Just like what they were trying to do in coming from the perspective of BGC.
Mhm.
And of course, but there are some
Is this the
challenges.
Bulacan Aero City? They call it the Aero City? No.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. But of course, first, we have major challenges like the flooding
Mhm.
is a big issue. Of course, wouldn't, there are three major dams nearby that we need to develop
Yeah.
like a system. The three major dams nearby, like the Angat, Ipo, and Bustos,
Okay.
when water is released from the Bustos Dam, say for example,
Uh-huh.
areas like Bukawe and
Uh-huh.
Marilao are the first to flood. Okay, so also many parts of Bulacan weren't built for progression yet.
Mhm.
So some areas don't even have proper drainage system. And of course, some of our projects, our team only found this out just recently that most of the property located in here doesn't have like a provision drainage yet. Yeah, so that's
Okay.
one of the problems. So we're going to tackle that because as an investor like you, so say for example, you hear the word or the location Bulacan.
Mhm.
My first question was that how big of a concern is flooding in Bulacan for people who want to invest?
Right.
Right, just like you.
That's a good. I think I think that would probably be the biggest concern, right? Because when flooding happens, all productivity stops,
Right.
right? So,
Everything's not passable.
right, like if you're running a company, right, your employees can't get to work, right?
Correct.
If you have property, your property can be damaged, right?
Right.
And so it's a huge concern, and it puts a lot of risk to the investment, right? So proper, but then again, I have to think that some of these problems are solvable through proper infrastructure development, right? So, yeah, I think it really comes down to the willpower of the government or the LGUs to develop the infrastructure to solve these problems. And if they can do that, it should really boost the value of property values. It boosts the economy here, the local economy here, especially if you're going to have a massive international airport here,
Right.
right? This can be another sort of central business district almost, right?
Right. This is what's going to happen. But as for you, when you have that topic regarding the Bulacan, are there any solid solutions being implemented? Or, I mean, for you, what can you suggest?
I'm not a urban planner, and I'm not an engineer, but like I said, I mean, there's got to be drainage that they need to build, proper maintenance of those drainage, and it really comes down to either the government or the township to develop it. Because if you look at BGC, for example, it's not the government that builds and maintains the infrastructure that stops the flooding. It's actually the mega corporations. Ayala Land is one of them. I think there's another partner there's a couple of partners that's involved that are responsible for building and maintaining that infrastructure. And that's why they're able to do it in a small township, right? And so question is, will Mega the World be able to do something like that in their township? So would you invest in that in that township, right? Could you expect the local governments to be able to run this and build this and manage it? I mean, who knows? I don't know. I don't know
Right.
the answer to that, but I would say from an investor's point of view, I probably wouldn't bet on that, right? So I would probably bet on, say, Ayala or a
Right.
developer who's proven that they've done it before,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
And is willing to put in the investment to do it.
Nice. Okay, I understand the perspective.
Right.
Do you believe that we have a working government in here? I mean, coming from your previous podcast, I just wanted to tackle some things. I mean, how do you view them, or how do you view the Philippines in the future? I mean, does our government, you think, can be able to do that? Not the corporations, not the businesses?
I don't want to blame it all on the government. And honestly, I don't know enough about politics to understand everything. But I can see that maybe some of the problem comes from the system itself, right? You know, the Philippines has tried to copy the American political system in some ways, in a lot of ways, even the Constitution. And that might not necessarily work for a country like the Philippines. It doesn't always work in the US either. So we have a lot of political strife because of that, right? We have a lot of, you know, we have corruption as well, right? In the States. So I think the government can do a lot more. And I think there is definitely a need for the government to kind of step up and solve a lot of the systematic issues.
Right.
For example, when you have 16 or 17 local government unit in Manila that are fighting with each other and can't agree to put a subway from one end to another end for the greater good of the people, then what hope is there to, like, you know?
It's in the culture.
Right? So that, I mean, there's just certain things that, you can't necessarily blame that on the politician. It's also the system in itself.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And something different in the States, for example, you know, neighborhoods answer to cities, cities answer to the counties, counties answer to the state, and the state answers to the federal government. So there is a, you know, hierarchy of accountability.
How many government do you have?
Well, I mean, you have your local county, right?
Yeah,
and then you have your city and your state. Right? So you have your state. So you have, like, say, Los Angeles County, then you have the state of California, and then you have the federal government.
You have the federal. So
Right.
there's
And
like
so-
three agencies taxing you as a citizen.
Yes, exactly. So,
Right.
so here's the thing: you pay your federal. Everybody has to pay their Uncle Sam, the federal government, right?
Right.
And then certain states will tax you on different rates. In California, it's very high, so you have to pay California taxes. And then your county collects taxes mostly from your what do you call it? Your property taxes.
Right.
So property taxes, when you pay your property tax, it goes to the local county, and the local county uses that money to fund schools,
Okay.
roads, hospitals, which should be the local government units, right? In the Philippines, it's quite different because you have your local government units to fund the schools and roads and stuff like that, but usually those standards aren't good enough. So where do people turn? They turn into township development instead of the local government. So in the township development, corporations build out the infrastructure in the schools and the hospitals, or they create the whole community.
The whole community, yeah, right.
And they design the urban planning behind it, right? So they do the job of what the local government units should be doing for the property taxes they collect.
Right, okay. But healthcare is free in America, right?
No.
Oh, no, okay. I haven't been in America, that's why I'm asking.
No.
But I've been serving you guys for the past 15 years, coming from the BPO.
It's one of the biggest issues and problems we have in the States is healthcare. Right? I
mean, almost the same here in the Philippines, though.
Yeah, well, so healthcare is probably at the highest standard because of it can command the highest price as well. And so, it's the highly educated people, you're probably going to get a very high level of healthcare, but it can break you financially if you didn't have medical insurance, right?
Okay, but insurance is big in America, right?
Yeah. So medical insurance is a big deal there.
So everything is framed just almost the same here in the Philippines and in America.
Right.
Would you agree?
Healthcare is very problematic here too. Especially if you don't have money.
Of course.
Here if you don't have money, you go to the hospital, they may not treat you, right? In the States, they have to treat you. Even if you don't have money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's going to
when
pay?
You go to an emergency room, for example. Yeah.
All right. So who's going to pay for that? So if you don't have money,
that comes out of
okay.
tax dollars, right? So
we have here the PhilHealth as well.
Right. Okay.
But it will only cover your medicine, not the whole. Right.
I actually had it's sad because like I've heard of people going to the hospital over conditions that were solvable, but they're poor and they ended up dying because they didn't get treated.
Treated,
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
it's pretty sad.
Yeah. It's almost the same I was thinking since our topic before when we were in Baraswain is the history. When we were colonized by Americans, I believe that's where it's coming, the Constitution from, right?
Right.
So, I don't know. Maybe. But again, we go back to real estate.
Okay. Yeah, we should probably stick to real estate.
Yeah, right. So I do not want to ask you. We have some questions in here regarding the infrastructure, but you've mentioned that, of course, you're not from here. You can only see from afar how the government system and the business system comparing. So I believe they do have a partnership right now. They call it PPP.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Government partnership with the corporations. Right. I wanted to partner with them soon enough, and I will know because I would need to know almost all the rules and regulation first, and then the loopholes.
Right.
Because you cannot go in there or work with them without.
So you're doing this to kind of tap into the socialized housing.
Yeah,
Right?
first, right.
And I think that's so, that's been a big question in my mind. How come they haven't, I know I've heard about the PIGI mandate.
Right.
To build enough low-cost socialized housing. And I've talked to certain international developers who are trying to come in and tap into that, right?
Okay.
And I keep asking myself, like, why hasn't the Philippines developers, the big mega developers, tap into that? Do you have any insights?
Well, this is
on
just
that?
an opinion.
Okay.
Okay. So everything that you watch in here is only an opinion. I do not want to get eaten by an Illuminati. No, I mean, we just always have that disclaimer. But here's my point of view on that. Because a lot of the developers, just like what I've learned coming from Pag-ibig Summit, they keep on forgetting that a lot of Filipinos, most of the Filipino earners are coming from the low and middle income, in which right now you can see almost all of their comments when it comes to real estate that they cannot afford anymore to buy in Manila because all of the big developers have been creating more high-end, say for example for condos. So I just asked a condo before. I'm not going to mention the name of the corporation, but they're doing it like 28 square meter for 3 to 3.5 million. Right now, instead of lowering the price from 27 square meter, it's down to 18 square meter. Right. So a lot of people cannot afford, but simply because this is only for the developer side, right? Because I'm being hurt when, of course, someone like you and then someone that you're talking to is like ganging up against the developers. Because this is what's happening on the developer's perspective. Since developers are prone to back out or default coming from the low income and middle class people, they are the one I know because I've already experienced that. I tried to acquire property when I was in Makati, in Laguna. So it's only one ride away. So I'm only paying like 2,500 pesos that time. I believe that was way back 2018, if I'm not mistaken, or 2017. But 2,500 for me, I cannot keep up because, so say for example, I started the installment at 2,500 for this year. Next year, it will be harder for me because of the inflation already. Like my rent, after a year, almost all of the landlords, after a year, they will mark up their pricing of their house. So say, coming from 6,000, then it became 6,500. So everything is inflated already. The 2,500 that I'm paying the developer now, or the house that I'm trying to acquire, is too much. It's so much for me.
Okay.
So that's actually, I believe, the reason why most of the developers doesn't want to deal with the low and middle income people.
So are you saying it's because the profit margins aren't there?
Right.
There's just not enough profits for them.
I believe so. Not really that profit,
Or is
but
it- or is it-
their risk.
Or is it because when they have a choice between a low-end project with low profit margin versus a mid-end or a high-end, they're going to make more money.
Right. In the high
They're
end.
just going to choose to do it.
Yes. Plus, the market on the high end are willing to pay 50% sometimes in cash just to get the big discount that they're offering.
Right.
Right. And that's what's happening right now. If we target, say, our last project, the biggest project that we had,
Yeah.
we have almost 5 hectares. Our target market there is middle to high income earners. And they're almost paying just to get the 5 to 10% discount that we're giving. They're willing to pay in cash rather than do the installment. So if I go here on the previous project that we had, so say the 3,000, 50 square meter times 3,000, that's only 150. So, of course, the people that can afford that is the low income and the middle earner. They'll put a deposit of 10% or 20%. Then the 80%, when you try to ask or collect money from them, either they'll ask to back out because they don't have money yet, or if they have a problem, a solid problem that they encounter, you will be the first one that they will cut out.
So what happens when they default on that?
We make them sign the cancellation, and then we resale to a much higher price. Right. Maybe it's actually an advantage for us, honestly, but it takes another work.
Right. Do you have to give back a portion of their funds or all of their funds when they default?
We do, yeah.
Right.
For notarization.
Right.
Because
it's part
not
of
free.
the law, right? And that's what that's a misconception I had, and I didn't realize that too. Because if you buy into a pre-selling project, right, and you default on the pre-selling payments, you're entitled to a portion of that.
There's a Maceda law for
the
that.
Maceda law, right.
For 2 years.
Right.
Like, for example, if we follow the Maceda law that they're already paying the installment for 2 to 3 years.
Right.
So for 2 years, if they're already paying for 2 years, then they can collect back 50% only, right? Because the reason behind it is because we could have sold it to someone who can pay, right? So that's the risk.
Right.
But then again, if there's a people who's actually doing that, I mean, not all of them, right? I mean, most of them just wanted to have like a shelter, right?
Yeah.
So it's how we weigh in the situation. Right now, that's what our team is trying to solve. So since we're still pretty new in this kind of business, so
I think what you're doing is great, because I think there needs to be more people to tackle this. Like you said, a lot of the mega developers aren't, really tackling this segment of the market for whatever reason. So it seems like it's an underserved section.
Underserved section, yes, that's a correct term.
And people keep talking about, we talked about the condo oversupply.
Right. And I wanted to take, because I think I've answered that maybe here on some real estate advice. What are your takes on that? Is there really like an oversupplies of condos in Metro Manila? What's your take on that?
So oversupply implies that there's more supply and not enough demand. But we know in the Philippines, there's definitely enough demand. There's not enough liquidity and money to afford the prices of this supply.
Correct.
Right? So imagine if this whole oversupply thing, all these buildings and condos dropped their prices drastically. Would we still have an oversupply? Probably not, right? So here's an interesting thing. Makati didn't get hit very hard. So what I learned was the oversupply happened around places like BGC, near Entertainment City, because, one, the Pogo exodus, right?
Yeah.
Two, there was all these developments that got turned over and was delayed because of COVID that all got released around this time. And so in BGC, you had a big oversupply of condos, but then in Makati, for example, didn't take much of a hit because it was already a mature market. Right. So there's that factor. And yes, it's going to take several years for all this inventory to kind of be taken out. But once the prices need to drop. Prices have been going up and up and up for 20 years, and there hasn't been any correction. And the way pricing has happened, because we have a lack of transparency in the Philippines, prices are like a guess in the wind. It's like developers set the prices based on a price per square foot or square meter. And this price per square meter keeps going up and up and up. But that's not a proper way to value a property, right? In other countries, property value is based on comparable sales, actual selling price. So for example, if five properties at 100 square meters sold for $1 million, your value is $1 million, right? For the same square footage or the square meter. So here, there wasn't any of that transparency, and the prices just kept going up as long as they were selling, And so what happened was you have an inflated price, rents still stay the same, prices kept going up, and rents stay the same. So now we're in this situation where prices of all these condominiums are overpriced. So they're overpriced, so no one's taking them up. But if the prices drop, which is ultimately going to happen, I think people will just start to take it up, right?
Yeah, right. But how come they keep on building condos if there's an oversupply?
Well, they stopped. Most developers have kind of slowed down drastically, right? So when you're talking about central business district, prices are also relatively high because land prices are so high too, right? There's a scarcity in land, which is driving up prices as well, right? And so I think the development isn't happening so much in central business district anymore. It's starting to go outwards, like in Bulacan or like in Clark, right? And so if you're an investor, I think you're going to see more upside in the areas outside of central NCR.
Central business district,
So I think that's kind of where, if you're an investor, you're looking for upside opportunity. And also I would say, people are so concerned about this oversupply, but I see it as an opportunity because I think with all this condo oversupply, and we're just talking about primary properties, like new builds.
New builds, right.
What about the RFO market? Right? That's been taking a huge hit. Right? So prices are slashing right now, and you can buy properties, much cheaper. And you can negotiate with developers on terms that they were never willing to entertain before. People, now there is such thing as a real rent to own scheme. Because all these developers have these a bunch of new build condos that can't move. And now without a big down payment, you can get in on a monthly payment and move into the house. It's almost like renting to own the property.
Right. But here's my experience. So in Panay Avenue in Quezon City, these oversupply condos, I don't believe that there's an oversupply because when I try to inquire one, because that's what I do. I try to inquire onto the other developers. How are they framing it? How are they selling it? How much? What are their terms and conditions? Then I have this, they're building a 37-story building somewhere in Quezon City. That's beside the one in, can I mention a corporation? No, na. Okay. That's beside to one of the famous developer already. But once you see their inventory, it's almost full. And what I believe is that coming from the perspective of me, I'm renting out with one of the condos here in Quezon City. I had one. Do you hear the term pasalo? I had one in somewhere in SM North. But here in Quezon City, on that part, what I believe is that other capitalist is actually trying to take advantage on that because they buy a condo unit in installment, and then once it's RFO, they lease it.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
That's what the other developer are trying to do. Have you heard about like
No.
the Double Dragon has been doing to their hotel?
What is
Like
exactly what they're doing?
for Hotel 101.
Yeah.
So say for example, this is only for example in MOA.
Yeah.
The building, what they'll do is they'll gonna sell you one unit of that hotel, but that is not a residential. That will act as an hotel. Yes.
Yeah.
And they will rent it out. You'll only have like a 30-day privilege on it.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the year, it will be rented out.
Right.
And then you'll be earning what they call a passive income.
Right.
So they call it what? Rent investment? Have you ever heard of
Yeah.
it?
So it's a condotel model. It's similar to if you were to buy your own own property to do Airbnb. Right. So here's the advantages and disadvantages. It's sort of like buying your own Airbnb and renting it out. Except this time you don't have to manage it and you don't have to touch it. They manage it from end to end, so there's no headaches for you, right? The downside of that is it's not really your unit. It's kind of like a timeshare of any of the
Timeshare, yeah, that's what they call it.
It's basically you're buying a timeshare because you can use your unit, but one day it's this room. The next day you go, it could be a different room. But I think the biggest downside of that is like you don't control the management. So if you're not happy with the management,
right,
you can't just take it.
You cannot control it, right?
And so that makes your exit value a lot different. So if you buy your own Airbnb and you run it and then you sell it,
it's a different.
There's equity value into it, right? Now, if you do the same thing here, you have to find a very specific buyer that's willing to buy that from you.
From you,
yeah.
Right.
So I would really question what the capital appreciation and the exit value might look like as an investment. That would be my biggest concern in that. But the nice part about that is if I just, I just wanted a vacation home. And I wanted to, 101 has a place in Niseko. Niseko is not a place I want to manage a property, but I have a home that I can go skiing and it makes money for me. And that's the idea.
That's it.
Right? And they did one in Spain, in Madrid. So at the time, you can buy one of this and qualify for the golden visa.
Oh.
And so that's what they were promising. If you can buy, we'll get you in and get you your golden visa for this investment. And there's no headaches. You don't need to go and scout properties. You don't need to renovate. You don't need to you don't need to find property management.
They're going to do it for you.
Right.
I think it's the same in Dubai, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they have plenty of programs like this. So it could be attractive to a certain type of investor. And it's probably the type of investor that kind of just wants to have that property in that location and, and stuff like that. But I would even look at the cash. I would even question whether the cash flow makes a lot of sense because they are taking a bigger cut of the revenues. So you are taking a lower revenue share for less headaches. So it's a trade-off.
Correct. I'm sure we have a lot of something that we can talk about that because it's a good topic, right?
Yeah.
Because I was about to attend SEC's summit when it comes to that timeshare. They call it SEC rent. It's real estate non-trade. But I can't share anymore because I haven't attended. I have to book another one. Yeah. So because we've talked about it, I'm really interested on how really that works. Yeah. Maybe next time,
Right.
But anyway, let's tackle one of your topic. When I am watching your videos in TikTok, I always watch you. So a lot of people like me resonated with your frustration on VAT.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think is the most unfair tax rule that you encountered in the Philippines today?
God, where do I begin? Well, let's just talk about two things: VAT and capital gains. Okay.
Okay.
Capital gains tax. I'm glad you brought up this subject because I have a lot more to say about it than what I said in my own videos.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So, do you know why real estate is such a beautiful investment? You know, you can invest in stocks, crypto, whatever, equities, bonds. Real estate is such an attractive investment, partially because, one, the banks are your partners when you get bank financing.
Correct.
Two, in some ways, the government is your partner too. So the government wants you to succeed in real estate because you're developing, either you're developing or you're paying taxes on properties.
Right.
In fact, in counties and local government units, it's their primary source of income. Property income tax or property tax, right? And so taxes and policies have a huge part of how the government incentivizes you to play in this ecosystem. And we're talking about an ecosystem that develops this country because without those tax dollars, you cannot fund schools and roads and things like that. It's all part of the ecosystem and is a major revenue source. But in the Philippines, the tax codes don't encourage that. And I'll explain this. Well, capital gains tax is if you make profit on the property, you pay a percentage to the government as though they are your partner. Like they're in it with you. If you make a loss on it, they don't collect on the tax. They give you a write-off. In other countries, this is how this works. In the US. In fact, did you know, and a lot of people don't know this, I'm American, so I have to pay income tax on capital gains tax on the properties in the Philippines, believe it or not. But that also means I can write off my losses as well. So because of that, I can write off my losses to my US tax returns for properties in the Philippines, but I can't do that here in the Philippines. So in the Philippines, capital gains tax, in anywhere in the world, capital gains tax is you're paying a tax on the net proceeds of the property. So if you buy the property for 1 million and you sell for 2 million, your net profit is 1 million. You pay a tax on the 1 million. Here, it doesn't matter whether you made a profit. You're going to pay a tax. So it's not really a capital gains tax. It's basically a transfer tax.
Yeah.
So they should just call it a transfer tax.
It's different one because the transfer tax is different, right?
Right.
Right.
Well, we do pay stamp taxes and like all these other taxes, right? The other thing is VAT. Now, imagine you rent a property on Airbnb for one night. Okay? And so whether you get taxed on rental income is one thing, but then when you go sell the property, you don't pay capital gains tax of 6%. You pay VAT of 12%.
Right.
Even if you just rented it for one night. So what does that do? And what does that tell people to do? What does that tell investors to do when your government says, if you rent it and you make money on it, we're going to tax you, we're going to double your taxes on the sale of the property. So why would you rent out your property?
Oh. Well,
and then
why would I declare it to you?
Right, or why would I declare it to you? Right?
Why would I declare it?
But the crazy thing, and that's what everyone says to me, why don't you just not declare it? Right. Well, the thing is, why would you cheat on your taxes when it comes to real estate? This is the last thing you want to, and the government knows this. The government knows this because they know you can't just, if you get caught cheating on your real estate taxes, guess what can happen? You can potentially lose your property.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're kind of renting it from the government anyways. Yeah. And you're renting it through your property taxes. You can't own property without paying property taxes.
Yeah, correct.
That is the government's rent. So you don't want to fuck with the government when it comes to paying your property taxes or paying taxes around real estate. Right? And the punishment could be pretty severe, right? But so why would the government tell you, hey, why would the government say, hey, you know, we have a housing crisis. We have, you know, there's a growing population of 115 million. There's not enough decent standard of housing for everyone, but yet we want to discourage people from renting their properties.
It's just that it's not to discourage. I don't think they just know everything.
I know.
Anyway,
you're right. It's because at the time when they did it, they just needed to. It's difficult to execute. So honestly, and if you didn't have the people and the manpower to execute the collection of taxes in a proper way and to execute according to tax code, what do? You just make it as simple as possible. Just you know, blindly tax it. Blind rules. If you rent it, we're going to tax you. We're going to tax you VAT, whatever, you know. And it's just and forget about trying to figure out what your gain was, whether you bought and sold it for more. We're just going to tax you for the full amount because we don't want the accountability to actually figure this out. What you bought it for, what you sold for, and what your net proceeds. But in all honesty, it's like in today's day in the government, I mean, everything goes through the banking system anyways. So, you know, to defraud and to hide your taxes or to evade your taxes is kind of scary because you got to put that money in the bank account anyways. Right? And bank records can be accessible if they really wanted to, I think.
Yes.
So I don't know. This is my frustration where I just look at it and I'm like, okay, how does this make sense? How does, if in most countries, I keep investing in real estate because everything points me to that way. Taxes point me to that way. In fact, you know, one of the best thing and the most beautiful thing about real estate investing is that I can avoid paying taxes through real estate investment. In fact, if you're a real estate investor anywhere in the world and you're paying taxes on your real estate income, you're probably doing something wrong. You can't say the same in the Philippines.
Because half of them doesn't know that most of the important details here in the Philippines is hidden.
Yeah.
Sometimes what we're waiting is if they were doing it wrong. Of course, sometimes you're just waiting for them to at least correct you.
Yeah.
But no, they're not going to do it. They are going to wait for you to start making mistakes because that's what they're waiting to penalize you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But again, like what I've mentioned, why are you going to declare it if it's only like one room?
Right.
Because as you can see, the tax code that you've learned that if you have it rented out, you are going to be billed or to be paying a VAT on that.
Why do I have to cheat my taxes though?
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't want to cheat, but I don't know.
You know,
We don't
I mean,
want to cheat, right?
I wish there was a system where I can just be honest about it, right? Because I have too much to lose. You know, you have $1 million property that the government can, you know, if they really want, they can penalize it from you. They can put a lien on your title, right? Why would I want to mess with that consequence? I'd rather be honest and just pay my fair share of taxes. But I want a system where I can win still. The government can win. I can win. The banks can win. That seems to make the most sense. And if it's just a matter of execution and being able to execute it, then that's their problem they need to solve. Don't put that problem on me.
But the thing, again, half of the things that the government people, they don't really know what they're doing. So again, reason out, we have like good and bad people.
Yeah.
We have smart and dumb people. So put that together, working in one. So us as a taxpayer, what I would recommend is for you to look for that someone who's smart and honest
Yeah.
and pray
Right.
that he's
To be fair
going to,
me.
he or she going to help you out. But again, as for me, dealing with the government, because we deal with the most government agencies here,
Mhm.
as a real estate developer,
It's painful,
is
right?
it's painful. But again, everything is negotiable.
I see. Yeah.
That's how I frame
Yeah.
or see it.
Right.
Because if not, I'm going to be angry with them.
Yeah.
But the business revolves around them.
Yeah.
So, well, that's just
And you're
I get your frustration.
you're absolutely right. And I come in with this like foreigner mindset when it comes to taxation, right? Because that's the one thing I'm most afraid of, the IRS,
All right. You
right?
have the IRS.
Because I have the most to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always trying to be very diligent and careful and follow the rules and use the rules to my advantage. But here in the Philippines, like you said, you need to learn how to negotiate these things. Everything is negotiated. Even though there are black and white rules, they're not necessarily black and white. You have to be able to work in between that, right? And that's part of living in the Philippines. That's part of adapting to the Philippines.
Right. I really wanted to talk about you with regard to the culture in dealing with most of the Filipinos,
Yeah.
especially with the government.
Right.
But I think we're just, I really love to talk with you about
Sure.
it. But I get it. I get the frustration.
Yeah.
For someone like you who's living abroad and who just wanted to live peacefully here in Manila, because again, even if the system's corrupt, there is still like positive output
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
you've mentioned at the
Absolutely.
first of our podcast that Manila is your home already, right? You call it home.
But can I just say this? Like,
Mhm.
despite all that, there's so much upside here.
Correct.
You know, you got to fight through it, but and you got to fight through the flood.
Don't worry
There's so
about it,
much
John.
upside.
There are a lot of people right now doing a business where like an entrepreneur like me
Mm.
who's being born. We have a group already who's trying to, all of the things that you are frustrated about.
Mm.
Maybe it's still a vision. It's a mission for us that maybe someday that will be corrected, especially in real estate. And it's the shelter of many, right?
Mhm.
Let's go back to condos.
Okay.
Because I'd just like to tackle this one. People shared bad experiences investing in condos. Like before, there are hidden charges. They were not educated with regard like the 5% before moving in. Like they call it hidden charges. But what should Filipinos look out for to avoid losing money in our today's economy?
I'm glad you brought that up. I think what you just mentioned, a lot of the people run into these hidden charges for two reasons. I think two main reasons. I think one, the professionalism of the real estate industry. How many times have you walked through the mall and someone hands you a flyer and you start talking to them, and the first thing they do is they sell you this monthly payment,
Right.
and they just tell you, well, it's 10,000 a month or 5,000 a month, right? And wait, you haven't told me anything about the property. What about all these people selling these properties aren't trained enough to even explain it to you? So there is a financial literacy problem as well. Like trying to understand how interest rates play and penalties, prepayment penalties, adjustable rate interest rates, compound interest rates, and all these factors. You need to understand before you sign a deal where you're getting into a long-term commitment into buying a property and what the consequences are if you don't make those payments, if you default, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of people get into these agreements without having the whereabouts of what the terms and conditions are. Right? And so part of that comes from the professionalism of the industry. There definitely needs to be a higher level of standard and education. And the other part of it, I think, comes from the lack of financial literacy. Right? And so I think that two recipe kind of combines, and it just creates a lot of problems and a lot of issues with these people. Probably a lot of deals getting backed out because of it.
Because of it.
Right.
Some of them.
Right.
their rant is regarding the bank approving them for only this amount,
Right.
right? And then where are they going to get that? Say the variance is around 200 to
Right.
300,
Right.
So there isn't many,
Right.
Filipino saving.
So you're doing pre-selling for now, right? So here's before this was a scheme, right? So say the banks typically loan on only a percentage of the total amount.
Okay.
We call it loan to value,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the banks usually loan, say, 80% or 60%. And here in the Philippines, it might be 60 to 70%. Now your prepayment penalty, when you're selling at pre-sales, you're collecting monthly payments. And the whole idea is to collect the monthly payment for the period of 2 years so that you can meet the minimum of 20% down payment
Right.
and then be able to qualify for the bank loan after that. A lot of people get into these deals without fully understanding this second part of it,
8%.
right? And what happens when the bank doesn't value the property at this valuation to qualify for this loan, right?
Right.
So you need buffers. You need to have enough buffers in place. You need to have enough money invest it or deposit it. Because what if the bank doesn't give you the 80%? What if they only give you 60%? You need to come up with the last 20%. Is that guaranteed by the time I finish paying you the payments,
20%.
by the time turnover comes over? So I need to know by the time your property turned over, how much money would I have deposited? And is that enough to cover whatever discrepancy that is? Because it's not guaranteed, is it?
It's not guaranteed, but the developer, or if say for example, I'm the one selling, the developer need to, how do you call it? How do you call abono in English? Like we pay it first.
Yeah.
I think that's the equity. Like
Right.
we pay it first for them,
Right.
or if the developer is not willing,
Yeah.
so they just, oh no, you need to pay the 80% certain amount, or you
Yeah.
need to pay that or loan that to bank.
Yeah.
Then the problem is they were just approved for 60%, not
Right.
80%. So what's going to happen to the 20%
Right.
is supposedly the developer should cover
Cover
that
it.
one. So they're paying for the 60%, they have a loan, and then they should be paying the developer as well, the other 20%.
Right.
I mean, that's how I view it.
So the developer does cover the discrepancy.
Supposedly, yes.
Okay. So another factor in qualifying for bank loans is what's your income,
Another thing.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
So they're not going to give you a loan payment. They're not going to give you a loan where the loan payment is so high that your salary can't cover it,
Yeah.
right?
And
So,
actually-
and income can change too. So your income might change by the time the property turns over.
Mhm.
And the bank is going to underwrite you and assess you for the loan at the point when they're going to issue that loan. So there's so many other factors that need to be considered, right?
Right. But since, for me, there may be like a lot of buyers now that's smart enough to ask that question. And for me, from our perspective, we should be responsible enough to have that explained or educate the buyers.
Mhm.
If here's what's going to happen. If the bank doesn't approve you, then we're gonna cover you.
Mm.
I think, we haven't started yet with the
Yeah.
house and lot, but
Yeah.
I believe so. What's happening with the property that we've sold before is
Yeah.
just like that.
Right.
We mostly do all of the equity, or how we call it, abono.
Uh-huh.
We're going to pay for it first. We're gonna carry that
Okay.
and then wait for them.
Okay.
So just so for them not to default or to back.
Right.
And of course, being one of the middle earners or low to middle earners before, I know the feeling that you've invested into something and then,
Yeah.
Right. Nothing, So that's how I can to provide you
Right.
details for now. But I haven't seen any. Again,
Yeah.
I haven't seen any. But right now, I'm paying with one of the developer in Quezon City. Then let's see how they're going to frame it. I'm planning to get one.
Yeah.
The 18 square meter.
Yeah, it's the whole pre-selling system actually works in a country like this because people will pay the monthly payment, and sometimes they're not most people aren't going to be able to save that much money to put a 20% down payment on any property. So it's a system that works, kind of works, right, and works for the most part. But it's also reliant on the banking system, and the banking system here is, if they don't have the cash to buy after turnover, then they have to rely on the banking system, and the banking system has its challenges, right, for many borrowers. It's not easy, from what I hear.
That depends on how you communicate with the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the bank right now, it's different, I believe, before. So we have a partner banks right now who's willing. At least that's
Right.
how I,
Yeah.
this is how I see it when they explain, and they will say like, if you do have an in-house interest, at least make it, because we're doing it like 8% before. Yet the bank will say, why are you doing it 8%? We're going to give it to the buyers or to the clients for 8%. At least make it higher. So we're gonna do it like around 12 to 16%. So at least if the client or the buyer wanted to opt to get a bank financing, at least it's much lower rather than the in-house. So if you'll notice, if you get to a developer, in-house is very much, right?
So the developers can finance it after the turnover?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
It can.
Okay.
Always, I know it can.
Right. So the borrower won't be in default. There will be options. They can finance it from some developers will offer that.
Yes. But
That's
some
great, yeah.
developers doesn't opt to. They
Yeah.
wanted to say if they are going to turn over the house or the property.
Right.
Of course, I would rather get, of course, the whole 80% in lump sum rather than the customer paying me in installment. Because
Right,
the
of
lump
course.
sum, I can use into other
Right, of course.
development,
Right.
right? So that's I believe that's what's happening.
Right.
I wanted to interview like a developer who's in the industry for like 10 years or more.
Yeah.
So I would know how are they doing it.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
But, yeah, it's a good topic though.
Yeah.
But all right. Oh. Okay, last question, John. Thank you for your time and for answering those questions and for giving an output. But I do have a last question here. And again, a lot of our audiences are OFWs.
Yeah.
Right. For those who are considering in investing in real estate, how can you earn from real estate here in the Philippines, even if you're based abroad, just like you?
Right. Obviously, the obvious answer of any real estate is rental income, right?
Okay.
So there's several ways. Obviously, with rental income, you have long-term rents, you have short-term rents now, like with Airbnb and things like that. But the typical way is long-term. Long-term is stable. You might be able to cash flow from your long-term rental rates. And the idea is, property can be a little bit more passive than other types of income because you're not dealing with things every single day, right? So properties you can rent to a renter for a year and maybe deal with a few problems in a year, and the rest of it is kind of passive. So it's a great opportunity for OFWs to start building their wealth and building their passive income through real estate investments.
Right.
And so, I think I definitely encourage OFWs to look at the Philippines as an investment, as an opportunity. And I know there's a lot of talk, and I've set the stage with the oversupply and things like that. I've talked about that quite a lot, and I haven't really helped the market, but I do really believe this is a good opportunity to find great deals. And I think OFWs, this is a good opportunity for them as well. Because a lot of these people, they've left the country for a better life because they can't get, they're not able to find that here. So they left the country to find a better life for them and their family. And always a big part of their dream is owning a home here, right? and hopefully they'll look at it as not just a home for their family, but something that they can maybe buy a second or third property for passive income, right? And I will say, there is a lot of scams for OFWs out there.
Right.
For around real estate investments. I've talked to a few of these people, and it's sad to hear, because you have titling scams, right? Buying fake titles. Two, you have the construction part of it, and if they're not here to watch the construction, it puts their investment at a bigger risk, right? And so there's a lot of that, but I think find the right developers that you can trust. Trust is such a big factor, right? And definitely look into opportunities of RFO, like if you can, but the thing with the pre-selling stuff, it's the flexibility to buy a property. That's
because
you're
it's high
investing
risk,
in.
high reward, right?
Yes. And the upside between pre-selling and upside of so I think tapping into the OFW market is great. I think that's and trying to build that trust with them. What you're doing is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. Because we just talked to them, most of them. We wanted them to trust us. Me, personally, as a person, I am fueled to all those people who put their trust on me. I'm new to the industry, I know, but there's a lot of problem and the issue that I've encountered living in Manila. Paul, I get so emotional when speaking about the trust. The trust. That's why if you can see our slogan, it's we build trust. Because living in Manila, it's so hard for the low and middle income earners, John. You wouldn't know because right now you're living in BGC, right? But for those middle income earners, it's really hard.
It's heartbreaking. And Jeg's my guy you met. He lives in Bulacan.
Right.
And and it breaks our heart. Like, we are trying to figure out a solution for him. And there's not many good solutions. And, we're inviting him to stay with us, until he figures out a solution. We see this all the time, and we feel really helpless. It's not that, I'm doing another video about this issue, about the infrastructure issues and things like that. And it's painful to see.
We really appreciate what you're doing. I really wanted to show them how real estate can really change their life. Because I saw it ever since I was growing.
Right.
I just didn't know what was my family has been doing.
Right.
They have been collecting these farms and everything. And I really didn't know. And my auntie just sent me in Manila to study. She didn't give me any money. She didn't tell me. She gave me only a bit.
Right.
For me to, you work.
Yeah.
To work, really. But I've seen it. I've learned it. So that's why when I saw the opportunity, this is it. I wanted.
Yeah, and I love what you're doing. I love the location that you've chosen, and if I can invest here, I would. Like Bulacan, if Bulacan comes through on that international airport, think about what it means for OFWs. Right. They can now fly in internationally into a place and buy and own a place that's affordable for them. Right. And they have hopefully they have mass transit to, Central Business District and NCR. Hopefully there comes some relief with that.
You can see the progress
when
it comes from the transit, the transportation.
Yeah.
I know our government is corrupt, but I still believe in them.
Yeah.
Ayoko na. Okay, I don't want to tackle that information, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me and showing me Bulacan.
Yeah, and of course, that's the least that I can do. And I really didn't expect that you and Jeremiah will respond to my request. But of course, is there anything that you wanted to promote? Just because,
No, I mean, I think I just, I appreciate everyone just kind of giving me the support to continue what I'm doing. And when I come back to the Philippines and so many people see me and they're like, hey, we love your content and, keep doing what you're doing. And that's enough. That's all I need, So,
yeah, you can continue talking with them. Hopefully, you'll reach the other team. So you can spread the word because they have more following than us. This is for us. This is only the beginning, and hopefully in the future, I can interview again and see or provide you some more information that you needed.
yeah.
I'm gonna learn that taxes. And again,
Uh-huh.
like I've shared with you, the BIR is already after us. But again, everything is negotiable.
Yeah, everything's negotiable.
Everything is negotiable. So that's it. Thank you so much. I hope pwede na siguro ako mag-Tagalog. I do hope that this is this is our 14th episode supposedly, but this will become our episode again, episode 1 for year 2. Right now, mas magiging intentional tayo when it comes to real estate. Doon na tayo ikot, real estate, finances, kasi yun naman talaga ang tinatakel ng team namin. At para po sa aming mga clients at mga buyers at mga kasosyo dyan, antay-antay lang po. Registered na po tayo. Ano po na po tayo ngayon? Certified tree house is going to the development side, not a brokerage. So, antay-antay lang po tayo at sa inyo magtiwala lang po kayo sa amin. At yun lang, once again, Mr. Jandang, thank you so much. And hopefully soon we can, meet someday again.
Well, I'd love to see your development as it progresses.
we
So
will.
please invite me back when
Definitely. I'll reach out with you and Jeremiah. So yun lang. Again, follow us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok account. That's Treehouse Malolos. We will try our best to interview pa more people regarding this niche or topic in real estate. And for now, sana nagustuhan ninyo. Medyo naging emotional lang ako ng konti because John brought the topic with regard to trust. Yun kasi, that's actually one of the issues, right?
Yeah.
But again, it all boils down to the intention, right? So that's it. Thank you so much. See you again for more podcast in Treehouse. Next time, kasama ko na ulit si Boss Bong at si Ma'am Cheat. Yun lang. Bye!
Thank you.